So welcome everyone to today's creative reset. It's a good start, isn't it? Creative reset workshop. So this is a somatic movement and creative journaling and doodling workshop for adults, but children can take part too. So if you are watching the recording, if you've got children around, then they can definitely take part. And this is to help provide you with some allocated time to explore gentle embodied movement for self-expression. It might be an opportunity to slow down, to rest, to maybe get some clarity around your personal intentions, your creative goals. And it might also be to learn some tools and practices for resetting and stabilizing your nervous system. And if you joined me in January, you might be using the journaling prompts that we did then, and your answers to that, to kind of reflect on where you are now halfway through the year. A little bit of housekeeping for those that are here. Make sure that you have room to move and that there's nothing dangerous in your immediate environment. If you are on carpet, make sure that you're not going to be slipping. If you're wearing socks, you might have a yoga mat, you might be using a blanket, you might just be practicing on carpet. You might even choose to do this on your bed. You don't have to have a mat, and you don't have to be somewhere specific. If you want to be on your bed and be a little bit cozier today, that's fine. And just a reminder that everything is a suggestion. So we are exploring some movement. We are exploring quite slow, simple movement. I say simple, it might not feel simple in your body, but we're not doing anything wild or dynamic unless you feel like you need that. So it's an invitation to try things out and see what resonates in your body and how it lands in your body. And I'm going to be giving options. So it's finding the option that works for you today, or, that helps you with whatever it is that you want to get out of today. You might also choose to move in your own way for the whole thing. I'm going to guide you. So if you feel more comfortable to follow what I'm doing and my suggestions, then that's fine, you can. But if you have your own way of moving, if you're quite used to moving your body, or doing somatic practices, or even, doing yoga or Pilates or anything like that, you can choose to move in whatever way feels best for you. Somatic movement can be guided, but it can also be intuitive. And this helps to build up our internal awareness, our interoception, and getting to know our bodies, getting to understand our bodies. Go to the loo when you need, drink water. Your camera can be on or off if you are here live. And make this as supportive and as nourishing for yourself as you need it to be and as possible. You can choose to have music on, so I did send out some playlists. So if you want a little bit of background music, you can do that when we start moving. But if you just want kind of the sounds of your immediate environment, then that's okay too. And this is your practice. You have permission to do what works for you. If you've got your camera off, I have no idea what you're doing anyway, so make it yours. For those who don't know me, or maybe haven't practiced with me before, I am Sophie Ray. I'm an artist, I'm a yoga teacher, and I've just trained as a somatic coach, and I live in Birmingham, and I'm a cat mom. I have a husband as well, but the cat. So you might see Mabel, she might pop up at the window at some point, so give her a little wave. If you are not sure what somatic movement is, then practicing in a somatic way means focusing on the sensations within your body as they are happening. And when we move slowly and with that awareness, it means that we can respond to whatever support we need. We can respond to, if something isn't feeling right, you can change what you're doing. You have that permission in a way that supports and empowers you. So it might be to your energy levels, it might be an injury, it might be something that you've got going on, it might be emotional, uh, paying attention to the sensations and recognizing what's going to support you and what isn't throughout this practice, what creates stress and tension and what creates stability and safety and connection for you. And we're going to get started because I don't want to talk too much at you, and we're here to do some stuff, do some practices. Does anybody have any questions? And if you do, you can type in the chat box. So from what I have just said, if you have any questions, type in the chat box. And if you do need to communicate at any point throughout, you can use the chat box. Great. Quick overview. We are starting with the somatic movement practice. You can do it standing, sitting, or lying down, and I'm going to be giving options for those. Obviously, I don't know what you're choosing to do if you've got your camera off, so I'm going to be trying to give as many options as possible. And then we are going to move straight into our yoga nidra, then we'll have a comfort break and we'll come back and we will do our journaling and doodling practice. Okay. So come to find your space and choose whether you want to stand. I'm going to start standing, so you can join me in standing if that feels best. But if you need to sit down, you can grab a chair, you can be sat on your bed, you can sit on the floor. If you want to lie down, that's fine too. Putting some music on if you want some music. For those that are standing, I invite you to start by walking around your space, really slowly. If you are sitting, maybe shifting from sit bone to sit bone, or you can march through your feet. You can lift a heel and lower a heel, lift and lower. And if you're lying down, you can have your knees bent and you can be doing the same thing through your feet. So as if you are walking. And we are starting with a somatic check-in. So some grounding, some orienting, and checking in with how we are. But first of all, let's bring in some gentle movement by walking around or marching through the feet. If you've got a yoga mat, you can walk up and down your yoga mat. You can walk on the mat and then on the floor. So if you've got a carpet or a hard floor and a yoga mat, and start to sense the textures beneath your feet. Is the surface hard? Is it soft? Is it making a sound? So if you are quite warm today, maybe you've got a yoga mat and you can hear that sound as you lift and lower your feet, that kind of sticky sound. Noticing how your breath is as you start to arrive. Maybe noticing if you're holding your breath. And you might like to take a few deep sighing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Bringing a little bit of weight into one foot and a little bit of weight into the other. And we don't need to go fast here. But if your body is, if you've got quite a lot of energy today, maybe you've kind of find yourself walking really quickly around the room, and that's okay. You can let other movements start to happen if that feels natural for you. So you might, as you are walking around the room, you might notice that, oh, there's some tightness in the shoulders, and maybe you're starting to move through other parts of your body. You can let those natural intuitive movements happen. Breathing in through the nose, sending it down towards your belly button. Letting it out through the mouth. As you are breathing out, maybe sending your awareness down into your feet a little bit more. And you can even look down at your feet. Unless you're lying down, then you might not be able to, if you feel like you're trying to crank the head around, then maybe you don't look down at your feet, but you might be starting to sense other parts of your body that are connecting to the floors, and maybe you're letting your back feel really heavy into the floor. And as we are sensing through the feet, whether that is walking, whether that is shifting from foot to foot or sit bone to sit bone, I invite you to take a moment to scan your room. Looking around your space and being curious about what's in your space today, maybe noticing the light coming through, noticing what the temperature's like. So I can sense that it's really quite warm and clammy today. But trying not to make judgments about what's coming up. Being as curious as you can be. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Maybe lengthening out the exhale. And scanning your environment. Acknowledging that you are in this space today. You are here for this practice. There's nothing else that you need to be doing. And is there something in your environment that makes you feel joyful or makes you feel content or calm? You can choose what word you use. Take a few moments to acknowledge that particular thing. So maybe it's an object, and it might be an object that you're bringing with you into the practice today for your for the creative part. It could be something that just makes you feel a little bit more present. And noticing as you are looking at that object, can you start to sense how it makes you feel in your body? Where those sensations of joy and contentment come up for you. And it's okay if you can't feel that, if it doesn't feel very present today. Just allowing yourself to be in your truth, whatever that is today. Keep checking in with the breath. Keep checking in with your feet. Noticing the textures of the floor, the support underneath you. Maybe seeing if you can bring a little bit more weight into your legs. Maybe letting your arms feel heavy. Finding a breathing pattern that works best for you. That can be in through your nose and out through your mouth. It can be in and out through the nose. It can be a more steady, conscious breath. It can be a more natural breath. And if you are standing or sitting, I invite you to start swinging your arms forwards and backwards, letting your arms feel really heavy. If you are lying down, maybe bringing your palms together and starting to rub your hands together. And you can massage into the hands, the palms. You can start to squeeze a little up through the arms, noticing the pressure in your hands and in your arms. And as you're swinging, maybe noticing any sensations that are present. So maybe there's a little breeze. You can feel the cool air through the fingers. Maybe you're bringing a little bounce into the knees. Noticing if this changes your breath in any way. Maybe you start to hold the breath as you bring a little bit more movement in. And sometimes standing up can make us feel tense. So I tend to get this tension here above my belly button. So when I'm feeling tight or tense here, or I'm breathing up into my chest, I know that actually I would really benefit from lying down and just taking a moment to let my stomach relax so that I can breathe a little bit deeper. So if that is happening for you, you can either sit down or lie down. You can allow your pelvis to feel heavy. And remembering that we are acknowledging the internal sensations here, but there might be sensations on the outside of your body, the soles of your feet. If you are rubbing your hands, maybe you can feel that little bit of friction. Maybe you're noticing the pressure. If you are gently squeezing your arms. And as I said, I'm giving a few options so that you can explore what might feel best for you. Remembering that we are all different and we are all arriving with very different experiences. If you want something a little bit more dynamic, so maybe you feel like you actually need to move a little bit more, then maybe you swing your arms up and down, or you could step your feet a little bit wider and you can swing your arms from side to side, letting them tap you. If you are lying down, you can reach your fingers up towards the ceiling and you can give the fingers a wiggle. You can shake out the wrists, the arms. And at any point throughout the practice, you can come back to that object in your space that brings you back into the room or brings you back into connection with something that feels joyful for you. We'll take a few more breaths here, bringing movement into the arms, maybe walking around the space, or maybe you're still marching stretching through the feet if you're lying or sitting down. Connecting with stability, that sense of stability underneath you. Whether that is through the feet, the sit bones, your pelvis, your back. And being curious about what that sense of stability feels like in your body. And again, it might be really obvious for you, or it might be quite subtle, or maybe that feeling isn't there. And that's okay. We can acknowledge that. And we really try to practice with as much compassion for where we are as possible, as if you are with a friend. If you've been swinging your arms, let's start to bring them back to stillness, back to center. You can keep walking, you can keep shifting from foot to foot. Let's wiggle into the fingers. As you breathe in, maybe you spread the fingers wide. And as you breathe out, maybe curling the fingers up into fists. And you could squeeze a little bit more here. Breathing in as we spread and open. Breathing out as we squeeze, noticing the tension in the fists, in the forearms. Breathing in, opening, spreading from the center of the palm right through to the fingertips. And then squeezing. You can do this with your eyes open or closed. I'll take around 3 more. And then start to relax into the hands, relax into the arms. Take a moment to pause, and that doesn't mean being still. You can still be shifting from foot to foot, but slowing down the movement. Eyes can be open or closed here, and I invite you to take a moment to check in and notice, how does your body feel after those that first section of the practice and those first few movements. Noticing if there are any subtle shifts, if anything feels different. Maybe you can feel a lot of warmth. Maybe there are some areas that feel a little bit looser. Maybe you feel more in your body rather than in the head. There's no right or wrong. Checking in with the breath, making sure that your breath is flowing as you need it to. Just noticing if you started to hold the breath, can you allow it to flow gently, evenly? And we'll start to lower our chin to our chest, bringing a little bit of movement into the neck. And then very slowly lifting the chin, lifting the nose. So if you're lying down, there might be less movement or range of movement, just taking it to where you need to. If you are standing, chin comes towards chest, you might be looking down and then looking up as you tilt the head back, bringing some movement into the neck and starting to notice how your neck feels today. And we're taking this movement really slowly. And we move slowly through somatic movement so that we can let our brain know what's happening. So it gives us time to acknowledge what is present, what is going on in my body today. Do I need to go a little slower? Is there some tightness or tension around the neck, or maybe into the upper back or shoulders? Let's take a few more. Nodding the head. Yes. Up and down. Maybe you still come back to that connection of your feet pressing into the floor, or the parts of your body that touch the floor. So especially if your mind is quite busy today, if it does drift, then you can come back to sensing your body in the space, in the environment. Let's start to bring our head back to center, and let's start to turn the head to one side as if you're looking over the shoulder, back through center, and then over to the other side. Now, again, you can be walking around your space. You don't have to be still to do this. You can be bringing in some other movement as you're turning your head from side to side. You can respond to if you have got a lot of energy in your body and you need to bring more movement in, or if you feel comfortable to be a little bit more in a still space. Or if you're feeling tired, acknowledging your energy levels as we go through this practice and honouring what you need today. As we're turning the head from side to side, starting to notice the side of your neck that engages a little bit. So as you're turning, if you're turning to look over your right shoulder, and noticing that the front of the neck lengthens and the other side, the right side, engages. And as we come back through center, we start to lengthen out that right side, and then we start to lengthen the right side. And we don't need to overanalyze or pick it apart. And this can be quite a nice one to do if you are lying down, because you can really feel the weight of your head resting on the floor or the pillow. And as you turn the head, you can let it be heavy for a few breaths, and then you can come back through center and let it be heavy on the other side. Let's start to bring a little bit more movement into the neck. So it doesn't matter which side you're on, but the next time you turn your head, start to roll the chin towards the chest, scoop the nose over to the other side. Let's lift the nose up and over and take some circular movements. Again, it might feel different if you are lying down. How could you bring this movement in if you are lying down? Maybe you sit up for a bit. Or maybe there's a way of scooping the chin towards the chest, still feeling the weight of the head on the floor, and then rolling the head back. So that's if you're lying down. Are there any parts of your neck or shoulders that do feel a little bit tight or tense today? And maybe going a little bit slower through those areas. Let's pause wherever we are and start to take it in the opposite direction. And as I said, there might be some other movement that you feel like you need to make. So if this just isn't resonating with you, feel free to bring some other more intuitive movement in. These are suggestions, and this can be your time to move and feel into your body in whatever way works for you. Let's start to bring our head back to center, and I invite you to pause, taking a moment to acknowledge how your neck feels after that movement. And these pauses in between are really useful. They're really important for our brain to go, oh, okay, that's how that felt. And we might be rewiring if there's some tension. We might be allowing that to ease out and just remind that area, oh, it doesn't have to be tense, it can be relaxed. And also acknowledging if there aren't any sensations in your body today. I'm going to move into our shoulders now, and we'll start by bringing the shoulders up towards the ears, sliding them up, and maybe seeing if we can feel a little squeeze of the muscles, and then allowing your arms to feel really heavy and your shoulders heavy as they draw back down. Scooping the shoulders up, a little squeeze, and sliding them down. And you might do this in sync with your breath, so you could breathe in to lift and out to lower. See if you can lengthen out the exhale. See if you can allow the down movement to be a little bit slower. And maybe at some point you breathe in when you need to and you breathe out to continue that movement. So it might be more of a natural movement and breath sync up. This can be helpful if you do have tension in your neck and upper back, and we're gently squeezing into that tension and slowly seeing if we can feel the release of the muscles on the way down. You can keep going with this movement, or you can start to explore it a little bit more. So as you're bringing the shoulders up, maybe you want to squeeze a little bit more into the upper back and in between the shoulder blades. So if you are standing or sitting, you can start to draw the elbows back and maybe tilt the head back. Breathe, try not to hold the breath, and then let your arms start to be heavy, start to broaden into the upper back, and maybe let the head dip down a little bit to find that release across the back. And as you're doing this, maybe noticing does one side feel more tense than the other? Can you feel more contraction of the muscles in one side than the other? Do they feel quite even? Is there no tension in your upper back, or no, there, obviously we are tensing, so there will be tension and engagement, but what other sensations are present there as you're doing this? Maybe there's a little bit of discomfort, maybe there's a bit of pain. So if there is, easing off as much as you need, being kind to your body. And this isn't about doing as many reps as we can or doing as much as we can. you might only do a few, 3, and then stop. So you have permission to stop whenever you need to. Making this the last one. Bringing everything back to center, relaxing through the arms, pausing here, taking a moment to check in. How did that feel? If it feels comfortable for you, you can always bring one hand to your heart, you can bring a hand to the belly, a little bit of soothing, a little bit of soothing self-touch. How's your breath doing? Your breath is a very good indicator. If you've started to tense and hold the breath, maybe there's a part of you that is saying, oh, something doesn't feel right. How can we take care of those parts that are coming up and, giving us signals, whispering to us? We'll start to bring a little bit more movement into the spine now. So we are moving through the whole body as much as we can through this movement practice. So maybe bringing some side to side movements in. You can let your arms be heavy here. You can bring the chin to the chest and you can start to roll into the upper back. And then lift and lengthen and draw the shoulders back and open up through the front of the body, the front of the spine. And you can roll yourself down all the way into a forward fold and then roll all the way back up. And we'll take a few minutes on our own to explore the movement in the spine. Now, I am going to be guiding movement, so when I say on your own, you're not on your own. I am here with you. So if you want to follow me, that's fine. You might reach up through one arm and then the other. But if you feel comfortable enough to start to explore the movement in your spine, feel free. If you're lying down, or if you've got to a point where you're like, oh, I really just want to lie down now, then maybe bending the knees, feet to the floor, and letting the knees rock from side to side. So we're bringing in a little bit of a twist. You could even reach one arm a little bit further away. You can be sitting up. And less is more sometimes. I don't feel like you have to be doing lots. Remembering to come back to the support underneath you. The support of the floor, the chair, any props. You can always be coming back to scanning your environment and those things in your environment that bring that sense of contentment or safety or joy. And we can always get a bit of a standing twist in as well. Imagine you're holding a beach ball and we can draw it round and up behind us and back through center, and then taking it over to the other side, allowing your feet to move naturally however they need to. So if you need to lift a heel, slow, steady breaths, or that more natural breath. You might breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Last few movements through the spine. Coming back through to center, back through to a comfortable position. That might be lying on your back, it might be standing. And you can still keep a little bit of movement going here, or you can find some stillness as we take another moment to check in. So it could be bringing hands to heart, one hand to heart, one hand to belly if that feels good. Eyes can be open or closed. And as if checking in with a friend, asking yourself, how am I? How am I today? And as best you can, checking in with kindness, with compassion, remembering, you are your friend, or you are checking in with your friend. How are you? And everything is welcome. If anything feels difficult, if there are some feelings or emotions coming up that do feel a little bit too difficult today, come back to sensing the floor underneath you, the stability of the floor, come back to scanning your environment, checking in with your object. And if there was a word that would describe how you are today, what would that word be? There might be a few words. And what do you need from today, from this practice, from this workshop? And how can you honor what you need? How can you give yourself permission to do what you need to do and to make this time your own? How can you take care of yourself? There might be some little whispers, there might be some real obvious, this is what I need and this is what I'm going to do to make sure that I honor those needs. Or again, there might be, it might be a little bit fuzzy, there might not be anything coming up. So that's okay, acknowledging that I'm not sure what I need today. So let's explore, let's see what comes up along the way. We'll take around 5 more breaths here. And maybe you set an intention here for today. Maybe you reflect on what it is that you need and you make a little commitment to yourself. Just getting it clear in your mind if you know what it is that you need. If you need to write it down, you can grab your journal, your paper, you can make a note. I quite often set intentions and then sometimes forget what they are, so always good to jot it down. And then we can start to bring a little bit more movement back in. Feel free to bring any movement in now before we settle down for our yoga nidra. So maybe you feel like, oh, I really need to open up and stretch and lengthen. Maybe I need to give myself a hug. Maybe I need to do some shaking or tapping. If you're starting to make your way down to the ground, some cat and cows or side to side movements can always feel good. Yeah, any movement in a tabletop. I love this movement. Any movement from the neck through the torso is really great for activating your relaxation response through the vagus nerve. So any last little wiggles, movements. Making sure that you've got everything that you need as well to be supported. And we'll start to make our way to lying down. If you are choosing to lie down for the yoga nidra, and I do recommend it. So if you can be on your bed, you can be on the floor. But as we come to lie down, let's bend into the knees and take a few rocks of the knees from side to side. So you can keep the knees kind of more pointing up to the sky and allow your pelvis to rock a little side to side. Or you can take it into some twists. We haven't done much movement into the hips. So we can take the feet a little bit wider here, maybe as wide as the mat if you're using a yoga mat, and you can let the knee fall in, find a little bit more space and length down one side of the hip, back through center, and letting the knee fall in, letting the legs feel heavy. If you've got any discomfort or tension in the low back, some pelvic tilts could feel quite nice here. Arching into the low back, tilting the pelvis forward, breathing into the belly, and then breathing out to gently lengthen through the low back. Breathing in to arch, breathing out to flatten. Or if you've still got quite a lot of energy, whether that is jittery energy, nervous energy, just excitement, you can have a little shake out of the legs and arms. And we'll settle into a position that is going to feel really supportive and nourishing. So that might be a pillow under your head. It might be some pillows under the backs of the legs. If you feel like you're going to get cold, maybe a blanket over you. And we'll take a couple of moments to settle. And start to become aware of your body as it settles, whether there still needs to be a little bit of movement happening or whether it feels okay to rest into a little bit of stillness. And how is your body feeling after that movement practice? Are there any sensations present here? You can start with the temperature, maybe, areas that feel warm, areas that feel cool. Noticing the parts of your body that touch the floor or any props. Noticing what your energy is like. And allowing yourself to check in here without overthinking or making judgments. Can you be curious throughout this practice today? Being curious is key to being creative. Curiosity fuels our imagination, and it can prompt us to approach things with a fresh perspective and an openness to what's possible. And do you feel supported enough? Or do you need some extra support? Do you need to lie on your side? Do you need to sit up but have some support behind your back? And settling into a comfortable stillness. If you need to move at any point, please do. If you need to keep some slow, soothing movement going, that's fine too. Invite your body to rest in whatever way feels available for you right now. Invite your body to be supported by the surface underneath you. And can you pinpoint where you feel the support the most? Are there any areas that maybe you're gripping or kind of lifting away from the floor, the surface without even noticing? And can you invite those parts to feel a little bit heavier? Allowing your arms and legs to feel heavier. And sensing the weight of your head. And I invite you to take a slow but deep breath in through the nose, down to the belly, And then maybe letting it out with a sigh. And feel free to make some noise here. And making sounds and vibrations through the throat, through the neck, can also activate our relaxation response. And it can be helpful for releasing anything that you might be holding on to in the throat. Give yourself permission to make a little bit of noise. And doing that a few more times if that feels good. Then you might choose to close your eyes, or you might keep them open, connecting with your space through that practice of orienting. There's nowhere else that you need to be. There's nothing else that you need to be doing. Can you give yourself permission to rest? Provide some space for curiosity, creativity, maybe some gratitude, clarity, and whatever it is that you want from this time. Bringing your awareness to your breath and settling into a rhythm that feels easy and relaxed. And spend a few moments following the movement and the rhythm of your breath. Is there any movement happening in your body as you breathe? And if you set an intention, then you might wish to repeat it to yourself now, 3 times. And as you repeat it, being curious as to whether your body responds to this intention. Can you feel it in your body? And bringing your awareness back to your breath and inviting your whole body to rest. Even if it doesn't completely, maybe there's still some gripping or tension. But just reminding it that you don't need to do anything right now. And I'm going to guide you through a simple body scan. You might bring your awareness to each body part when mentioned, and don't worry if you lose track. Simply bring your attention back to the sound of my voice, and don't worry if you've missed anything. And we'll start at the right hand thumb. Bringing your awareness to your right hand thumb, your first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, all 5 fingers, your right palm, the back of your right hand, your right wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, right shoulder, the right side of your chest, right armpit, right rib cage, side waist, right hip, right thigh, knee, lower leg, your right ankle, the top of your right foot, your right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, all of the toes on your right foot. the sole of your right foot. Sensing into the whole of your right leg and the whole of your right arm. Inviting your right leg and your right arm to feel a little bit heavier. And bringing your awareness to your left hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, all of the fingers on your left hand, the palm of your left hand and the back of your left hand, your left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, left armpit, left side of your chest, left rib cage, side waist, hip, left thigh, knee, lower leg, left ankle, the top of your left foot, your left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, all of the toes on the left foot, the sole of your left foot, your whole left leg, and the whole of your left arm. Inviting the left leg and the left arm to feel a little bit heavier. Becoming aware of your pelvis, the back of your pelvis, the front of your pelvis, the right side, the left side. Inviting your pelvis to feel a little bit heavier, and then sensing into your low back, your middle back, your upper back, your entire spine, your right shoulder blade, your left shoulder blade, the space between your shoulder blades, the back of your neck, the right side of your neck, the left side of your neck, the back of your head, the crown of your head, your forehead, right eye, left eye, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, the tip of your nose, right nostril, left nostril, top lip, bottom lip, inside your mouth, your tongue, your teeth, your chin, your jaw, the right side of your jaw and the left side of your jaw, the front of your neck, the center of your chest, your sternum, the space above your belly button, the space below your belly button, sensing the whole front of your body. Becoming aware of the whole back of your body. The whole right side of your body. the whole left side of your body. Taking a slow but deep breath in. Imagine breathing into the crown of your head. And then breathing out all the way down through the soles of the feet, inviting your whole body to soften and release. Imagine you could breathe in through the soles of your feet, all the way up through your body to the crown of the head. And breathing from the crown of the head all the way down to the soles of the feet. One more deep breath in through the soles of the feet, filling up your body right to the crown of the head. Breathing out, inviting your whole body to soften and release. And I invite you to scan for parts of your body that feel really heavy. Are there any parts of your body that feel really heavy? And then scanning for parts of your body that feel really light. Are there any sensations of lightness in your body? Bringing your awareness back to sensations of heaviness. And if there are no areas that feel heavy, can you invite that sensation into your body? Can you find parts and allow them to feel heavy? What would that be like? Remembering that there's no right or wrong way to do this. And one is not better than the other. They are both the same. They are equal. And let's explore that lightness. Is there lightness in your body? Where is that lightness? And if there isn't any lightness, how might you be able to bring some lightness in? How would it feel to bring lightness into your body? Sensing heaviness and sensing lightness. Sensing heaviness and sensing lightness. And how would it feel to sense them both at the same time? Heaviness and lightness both at the same time. Sensing your whole body with heaviness and lightness. Releasing those sensations and bringing your awareness back to your breath, keeping it as easy and as effortless as you can. And I invite you to imagine that your breath is your creativity, your own creativity. It could be your creative self-expression, or if it feels safe enough to do so, maybe you imagine your breath as your creative inner child or a creative inner part. And how might this creative part look and feel or be within you? It might be a color, a shape, a light or an outline. Is it big or small? Is it bright or dark? Is it a sensation, joy or playfulness? How might this creative part look and feel and be within you? And take a few moments now to visualize as best you can this creative part within you, remembering that it is your breath. So if all that you can feel is your breath flowing around your body, that is absolutely fine. Recognizing if this feels really easy or quite challenging. If it feels too much, or if you sense resistance, you can come back to noticing the support of the floor underneath you. You can come back to scanning the room. But if the resistance feels safe enough, how might you be able to give it some space to be here? Welcome it in. What would help this creative part feel welcome today? Resistance, fear, and uncertainty are often parts within you that are trying to protect you. And that can sometimes be difficult to acknowledge. What would help it feel welcome? What would help you feel safe enough to welcome it in? And as you connect with this creative part of you in whatever way you are, I invite you to ask it if it has anything it would like to share with you. This workshop is a creative reset, after all. And sometimes our creativity can get pushed to one side, it can be hidden or underused, underacknowledged. Does your creative part have anything to share with you in this open and nurturing space? And this might come through as physical sensations, it might be images, there might be words. And there might be nothing at all. So you're not doing anything wrong if nothing is coming up, but recognizing, okay, something is feeling a little blocked or nothing is coming up right now, and that's okay. We can sit with that, that's fine. We'll take around 10 more breaths here. And perhaps each inhale you take widens your curiosity, your perspective and creativity. How would that look within that creative part? Maybe it gets bigger, brighter, maybe it's more expansive, maybe it fizzes. And each exhale reminds you that you are safe and you can soften into resistance and into your inner knowing. It's there, it's always there. You're just trying to uncover it a little bit by bit, in whatever way feels safe for you. Taking 10 more breaths. Take a moment to thank your creative part for showing up today. Thank yourself for taking this time to reset. And if you set an intention at the start, repeat it to yourself 3 more times. Maybe reflecting on how it feels in your body to repeat it after this practice. Recognizing if there are constant shifts and changes. We aren't in one state all the time. We don't have to be in one state. We can move freely when we feel open and safe to do so. And we can start to invite a little bit of movement back in. Reconnecting with your physical body, maybe taking a few deeper breaths, acknowledging the space around you. Moving in that slow, somatic way, tuning into the internal sensations, allowing it to be a little bit more effortless. Noticing the support of the floor beneath you, and moving a little bit more. If you're watching the recording and you feel like you need to lie here and rest for a little bit longer, then please feel free to do so. And those of you that are here live, maybe rolling over onto one side, pushing yourself up to a comfortable seat. I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you so much for watching this and joining in with this practice.